So, I really expected to have the booking product manager as well, but I will try to do the best work for you. Okay, so today we'll talk about 4 strategies and other 4 strategies of increasing conversion rates. If you don't ask, then here is the clients in Ukraine, and maybe we work with, let's say, 20% of overall revenue, e-commerce revenue in Ukraine, in 24 more countries. So, in typically all of the markets in US. So you should probably know what the zero is, right? So typically by this process people think of these 4 steps, where the first one is some research, quantitative and qualitative research in order to find out, to really define the problem in quantitative analytics, and to define the reason of the problem with the qualitative analytics. I will talk more about that in a few minutes. Based on the data, you generate a hypothesis, right? And then you test this hypothesis, right? Do A/B test, so other kind of test. And only based on this data, you implement the hypothesis live, right? So you don't do like everyone does on post-USSR countries, where just genius idea came into mind of product manager or CEO, and you just, okay, let's just implement this stuff and let's see how it works. This stuff doesn't work, and it's obvious for pretty much everybody in good companies in US, but in post-USSR it's still kind of a non-obvious thing, right? So by defining the reason of the problem, so typically it's done the UX research. Quantitative research is also possible in defining some kind of the problems, but you can't really understand, okay, you can see with the quantitative analytics that there is a drop-off in some segment, but you can know that the reason of that drop-off was that because user don't understand the value of your product, or he didn't trust your product, or he has some unanswered questions, objections, stuff like that, right? It's definitely not possible with quantitative analytics. That's why you need UX research to uncover the reason of the problem. Make sense? So basically, another big growth point is that even in Silicon Valley, in TechCrunch, all of blogs that you probably read, people talk about typical frameworks, how to measure the results, but very rarely it's the case that people optimize the average order volume, right? It's not so popular. And conversion, the North Star of conversion rate optimization, and kind of typical metric that we optimize, is the revenue per user. So this revenue per user, not conversion rates, not our stuff, only the revenue per user, and the time period, well, it depends on the product, right? And a big part of it is optimizing the average order volume. Even regardless the type of monetization, it could be the blog, but you have a metric how much revenue some user gives you in a time period, right? So we always start with the low-hanging fruits, right? There are always in most of the product, there are just stuff that it could be technical barriers to purchase, it could be usability barriers of purchase that are absolutely not obvious for your quality assurance, for developers, because the stuff works, right? But they don't understand that this is the usability barrier for purchase. So how do you approach that? How do you find stuff like that, right? So here is the example of the client. As you can see, from just top level overview, you can see that revenue in US is around $8 million for the month, but in Canada, we're kind of the same audience, it's kind of only $150,000, right? And the conversion rate to purchase is 12 times lower. So by this chart, it became obvious, right, that some shit happens, right? So some shit definitely happens somewhere, right? So how will we find the reason of that? So the first obvious stuff is just to see the funnel progression, typical funnel report for each click in the funnel. And this way we understood that, well, the problem is in checkout, okay? So this is easier to understand. You will see some of the funnel steps will have abnormally high drop-off. Okay, so here we allocated the problem, narrowed down the problem to the checkout, and we're now to understand what is happening on the checkout, right? So we do the form analytics. Here is a cool form analytics software. It was done with Formissimo, now called Zucco. So basically, it does the visualization of the drop-offs and which field generate the highest drop-off. So basically, as you can see here, is everything that you can imagine about the form analytics. So this is the percentage of the drop-off, it's median time on the field, so how many time people spend on the field, it's percentage of corrections. So by looking at this, it becomes very clear kind of what specific field caused the drop-off. Because there are some cases where just one dummy field generated kind of 20% loss of revenue of the whole business. So imagine you run a business, you have thousands of problems, but one fucking field decrease your revenue by 20% or something, right? So this stuff is important. And with this type of research, we understood that the biggest friction point was on the zip code field, right? Zip code field. We take a look at the zip code field, but, well, this is a field. And it's not clear for us kind of what's happening, what's wrong with that. So we did an online polls for Canadian audience, and Canadians basically complained that the format of this field, it was not working for them. It was not working for majority of Canadian zip codes. So they simply can't buy because, well, the checkout doesn't accept their true format of the zip code. And that's cost $1 million annually for this company. So let's move on. Exactly same, basically we repeat this process for pretty much every client. And here is the example from Russia. So this is Yumiru. It was the leading site builder maybe 5 years ago. So, and they really don't like Putin, so we decided to help him. So here is the same breakdown for the geography, right? So this is each click in the funnel and the breakdown by countries. And as you can see, the conversion rate in Ukraine, Belarus, they are kind of 2 times lower than from Russia. So why is that? And here the case was pretty much straightforward. Just the format of the phone number didn't accept Ukrainian and Belarus phone numbers. And this again did 11% conversion rate growth. Here I mean the total, and pretty much on every slide I mean kind of total conversion rates of the company. It could be desktop, mobile sometime, but typically it's total for the overall company. And pretty much, well, big part of the products, they have stuff like that. So here is, do we have anybody with the subscription, SaaS services, where you have the monthly subscription? Okay. So how Zero is different from UX stuff is that we actually find out the real reasons and the real whys of some specific tactics. So in SaaS world, in subscription services, it's believed to be true that free trials work best, right? That you give the free trial for the user, and then maybe he will feel the value, and then maybe he will pay, right? But if you look on the website of top SEO optimizers, it's the guys like Neil Patel with Crazy Egg, Moz, digitalmarketer.com, ClickFunnels. They have another type of the funnels. So this client, and I will tell you how it looks in a short. So this funnel was super typical. It was the sales page, right, that basically offers the free trial, gets the email, then free trials start, so as everybody does. Our alternative version was that user firstly choose the plan, so he choose the plan, and then we ask for credit card, so that we start charging the user right after the end of the free trial. Can you see the sense? So basically, user gets 30 days free trial. He's not charged during the free trial, but he's charged on the 31st day after the trial, automatically, okay? And for doing that, you need to understand how much to charge them. And this is the only reason of this page, right? So user firstly choose the plan, and he see call to action, get my 30 days free trial, okay? And here we uncover some objections, why we're doing that, remind about the value of the service. This stuff is also super important. And on the next page, we ask the credit card. And definitely users have their objections, why I should give the credit card, right? So here we overcome that objection and we tell that, okay, we ask the credit card to avoid multiple free accounts, to avoid cheating with our service. We are the good guys, okay? And basically we overcome the rejections, classical stuff, cancel anytime, refund even for the first charge, stuff like that. So this is the alternative version. And as you can see here, it is $0 for 30 days. So we're trying to overcome rejections of giving the credit card as much as possible. So what are your thoughts on what are the results from this? Just tell any possible number of growth or not growth. Does anybody have a figure in mind? Just 25? Okay, so basically this increased the total revenue by 91%. Well, basically it's not the revenue, total conversion rate from visitor to purchase grew by 91%. So obviously conversion to the free trial, it dropped by 63%. And this was the reason why people will fear of such funnels. So just some guy published a blog post telling, hey, free trials increase conversion rates to free trial by kind of 100%, 200%. But if it does right, only kind of 63% drop of the trials. But then the conversion to paid was, I mean, from trial to paid, was up by 400%. Well, because we charge automatically. And the impact on overall revenue is 91% growth. Impact to conversion to purchase. Sounds good? And this is the universal strategy that works pretty much for a big portion of SaaS companies, subscription companies. Okay, so the third strategy is about optimizing your upsells, cross-sells in order to increase your average order volume. Okay, so we worked with the company called Revolution Golf. They sell golf courses for $50 million annually, something like that. And their funnel starts with the quiz. So in the quiz, so this is the landing page. In the quiz we asked a number of questions to understand which problems user had, right? To basically customize the offers for them on a later stage. So this quiz uncovers the problems. So it was about golf, and the problems are kind of the strength of shots, the consistency of shots, stuff like that. And in the ads that we shown, that the client shown, the banners were like kind of uncover your #1 consistency killer in playing golf, stuff like that. So after that, we ask for email, for subscription, and tell, okay, your #1 consistency killer is the strength of shots. Get the video how to increase your strength of shots. And this stuff converts like crazy. But this is only the start. This is only the start of the journey, right? In post-USSR companies, typically users say on thank you page, they say, thank you, bye, see you then. But this is the good place to actually start selling or to upselling. Make sense? So on thank you page, pretty much every business could add some upsell or cross-sell to the thank you page. So one of the first A/B tests that we did is that typically control version, they had kind of huge sales page, you know, that American style 20 screen sales page of the copy, 20 screens of the copy, and it was immediately clear that, well, we're trying to sell something. And we look at the correlations, and we define that there is absolutely no correlation even of reading five screens of text, and the highest converting user flow is when they actually watch video till the end. And but all of this sales copy, it only kind of has lower impact on conversion rate than video. So we decided, so let's just hide all of the stuff and focus users to watching the video to the end. Can you see the logic? So we look at the top performing user flows and then just increase the reach of those flows. And so we even hide the button so that the button to buy, it arrives only at the end of the video. And that gives 17% revenue growth. And by the way, if you remember the first slide, the cost per click for this client was kind of $12 per click. $12, even $16, $18 per only one click. And our job was to get those money back within the very first session of the user. And here is one of the ways how we increased that revenue by 17%. So, but we didn't stop on that. On the next page, we had another upsell. So this is the upsell. This is the upsell number 2. And here we just sold another product that is more expensive for $47. The previous product was for $19 or something like that. And the beauty of that, we have the user's credit card here. So he only needs to click the button and we will charge him for $47. So those are one-click upsells. And this stuff possible well, in pretty much every country, so right? And after that, if user point the mouse away of this page, if he tries to go out of the website, they have the downsell in the exit intent pop-up. What is downsell? Downsell is you have basically cheaper offer or lighter offer of the same stuff but less features and everything. And here, do you want to try just the same stuff for $1? Why not? Then build $4 monthly. And this stuff also gave kind of additional 15% or something like that. So basically, we started the experimentation this year in this company, and they didn't done pretty much any testing before us. And after us, they scaled till 1,000 experiments annually. And last year, they were acquired by NBC Group. So NBC Group bought the golf channel for $3 billion, and they bought the Revolution Golf for I don't know how much, but pretty much a lot of money. Okay, so do you want to implement upsells in your business? So typically business owners said, oh, no, I have a SaaS, or I have a blog, or I have whatever, I have a commerce store. What upsells are not possible? But basically, the question is there, in what kind of businesses it's not possible to upsell stuff? My mom have a wedding agency. Wedding is something that you have only once in a lifetime, right? But there are upsells, and there are even returning clients there. So there is no business where you can't implement the upsells. Absolutely no business, and I can prove that to anybody. So typical rejection that upsells are not possible in SaaS, right? So you have a plan, 3 types of plan, 4 types of plan, and that's it, right? This is basically how people think about optimizing their average order volume. But you always can figure out something. So one of the upsells that we did for this client was a done-for-you premium plan. So basically, so this premium plan is sold for $349, and basically the lifetime value of the subscription was way lower than that. So we just added the additional premium feature. And in your business, it could be, well, a lot of stuff. It could be some premium support. It could be additional upsells, additional features. So you always can figure out something to upsell and cross-sell. So here we just added another plan. And the beauty of that is that it charged immediately. It charged $350 immediately. Well, after the free trial, as we like that. And the result was kind of around 30% growth of MRR, of monthly recurring revenue. And if you remember, I told before that this plan, there is more money than from lifetime from subscription, and it charged right after the free trial. Sounds good? And it's pretty much universal. Any subscription business can implement the same stuff. Any e-commerce store can add some one-click upsells on the thank you page. Okay. So then, last strategy was about optimizing your interface based on data. So this is quite a wide description of the task, but typically, especially in post-Soviet countries, well, some designers who don't have any clue about the business, they understand nothing about selling. So guys like that, they make a decision on the interface of the product. And it completely doesn't work. Because all interface decision, all UX decision, they should be made by the data. And actually that is not 100% correct. Because pretty much every analyst talks about, pretty much product manager talks about managing the product based on data. But there is a difference between based on data and based on the data that leads to profit, okay? So the task was to optimize the landing page. And well, this is the whole landing page. And basically, well, this is it. So we started this project with just testing the best practices on the interface. We thought, okay, we are the experts in conversion rate optimization. We know how landing pages should look like, so let's just test our top performing stuff on landing pages. And we did first 6 A/B tests without any growth. Well, one was kind of 7% growth, but it was not enough. And after that, we decided, oh no, we need to do our homework, right? We need to do the stuff that we teach about all of the research. So as you remember the point that quantitative analytics, it can tell the reason of the problem. Okay, so what you will see here in Google Analytics? Pretty much nothing, right? It's one page landing page. So we ran the online poll. The poll firstly asked, does anything stop you from subscription? Yes or no? And people should just click yes or no. This stuff is to optimize the conversion rate to, well, actually entering the quiz, right? And after that, we just ask only one open question, kind of what stops you from registration? And the triggering of this pop-up was on the exit intent, so that we interview only those guys who actually abandoned the website. And we did tons of the answers. So when you have a lot of traffic, you can play with classic statistical stuff like SPSS, so what sociologist does. But typically, it's more obvious, and you can see. So here we find out that 32% of users, they typically have one biggest friction point. So the point was that users didn't want to opt in, they didn't want to subscribe before actually seeing the products that's on sale, right? So this company, Le Boutique, it's flash sales clothing store, right? And people didn't want to opt in because they want to see the products first, okay? And we uncovered that the reason of that, so this is the reason, the biggest reason of the drop-off. And we designed the alternative version. So here, and by the way, we can change. So we have only the landing page. We can't do anything else. We can change only this landing page, right? So, and we just show the pictures of products on the background. Only pictures of the products on the background. In this way, we kind of close that rejection. You see the point? Do you have any guess how much growth that can give? How much? 15%, any other ideas? 40, it was 81% growth. 81% growth. And what's interesting is that there is such stuff called novelty effect in conversion rate optimization. Novelty effect is when you do some change, this growth works only for a few weeks, and then it gets back to the previous metrics. So in this case, this conversion rate growth, it was consistent for more than 1 year, well, 18 months. Well, because maybe it works even now, but we checked for the period of 18 months, and it was still the same growth. Well, almost same, 60% growth was already in place. Sounds good? So, so this is it, guys. If you want the free recommendations for your website, or if you have any questions, just shoot me a line on the email, and I will actually open your website, and we'll just send you a couple of hypotheses, what you can test. Well, because we did right now more than 100 projects in conversion rate optimization, and it takes me, I don't know, 5 minutes to generate the hypothesis that will work with pretty much high probability. Okay, this is it, guys. We have 4 minutes to, well, questions. So go ahead with the questions.
We have time for questions now. You can ask questions, me or Gleb, wherever you have questions to. Go ahead. Anything to do with conversion rate optimization, anything to do with growing your business, the tactics that we used.
You can ask in Russian, right?
Давайте.
Мы понимаем русский.
Вам дать микрофон?
And we will translate the Russian questions in English.
Там был пример по поводу Smart Cook, где была подписка, ну, вы изменили, ну, сразу же начали просить кредитную карту, когда запрашивали триал, там 83%, на 63% упал, ну, переход в триал, и на 406 что-то там подросло платная подписка. Но там в течение 30 дней можно вернуть деньги, ну, какое количество пользователей продлевало на 2-й месяц, допустим, ну, если там рост. И второй, ну, тоже по этому же вопрос, там, ну, нужно посчитать...
Давайте на первый, а потом на второй. Значит, у нас это не какой-то трюк, где мы говорим, что давайте возьмем email, пускай они забудут, что они подписались, а мы их быстренько через 30 дней потом забилим. Мы их предупреждаем раз, что через неделю у вас заканчивается free trial. Ваша карточка будет забилена. Через 7 дней, вернее, через 5 дней мы опять, через 3 дня опять. И в тот день мы опять предупреждаем. Человек прекрасно понимает, если он читает почту, а, как правило, такие у нас есть, что у него будут сниматься деньги. Поэтому у нас нету такого там лавины просьб вернуть деньги обратно после того, как забили. Важно, что... Презентация это было, кстати, что мы с помощью этого пытаемся, с помощью того, что мы берем карточку, мы пытаемся увеличить уровень взаимодействия, чтобы пользователь больше пользовался. Вы знаете, никто не ценит то, за что не платят. Когда ты даешь карточку, то есть мы по аналитике посмотрели, что пользователи, которые заплатили после 30 дней своего фри-трайла, у них там было, ну там 2-3 раза заходили. После того, как они заплатили, они начинают активно пользоваться. Ага, то есть человек, который заплатил бабки за это, он начинает в этом копаться теперь. Дальше мы знаем, что пользователи, которые активно пользовались во время фри-трайла, у них большая вероятность конверсии. Если соединить вот этих два умозаключения вместе, этих датасета, то получается, что если мы увеличим количество использования, взаимодействия в этом продукте во время фри-трайла, то у нас большая вероятность, что он купит. А как мы это делаем? Мы просим карточку в начале. Мы просим его заплатить в начале. Или дать карточку, чтобы у него было ощущение, что он за это уже заплатил или в процессе оплаты. Если это все соединить, вот такой результат получится. Поэтому нет у нас такого, что люди там возвращаются и говорят, дайте мне деньги. Конечно, некоторые такие есть, но это небольшое количество.
So the question was, what was basically the next month's churn after the first payment? So if you remember the chart, that during the free trial, 78% of users, they canceled the free trial. So this during the free trial. So this is clear traffic. I mean, those who left. And another beauty of that is that a big portion of the charges were annual charges. Okay, there was annual and quarterly. So you should definitely keep the experiments like that long term. You can keep it for 2 months or something like that to see the well, at least the churn on second month. So, and for that, by the way, it works better if you have 7 days free trials because, well, it is a pain to wait for a couple of months. So, please.
The most important thing in any product is value. If your product is valuable, people will pay for it. The only thing that you can do some psychological tricks like asking the payment details in advance in order to increase engagement with that valuable product. Anyone else? Go ahead.
Какие самые типовые ошибки у e-commerce сайтов? Точнее, правильно сформулировал. Да, какие самые типовые ошибки на пути к увеличению конверсии у e-commerce сайтов? Неважно, что там сайт продает. Ну, типовые ошибки. Интернет-магазин.
Can we answer in English?
So the question was, what is the typical mistakes for e-commerce stores in conversion rate optimization? And I need probably, I don't know, 2-3 hours to answer that. So I can tell you. There is a lot of stuff. So the first basic stuff is that start A/B testing. This is the first. And well, second, start measuring everything. So typically in post-USSR, people measuring kind of only well, the main steps like add to cart and purchase. So they completely didn't know what happens in between that, what are the user journeys, what users are actually doing before moving through the funnel steps. So this is very complex question. What?
The main point is the three things that I said at the end of presentation. A, lack of or no experimentation. Following best practices, which is just a common practices, like everyone else does. Lack of data-driven hypothesis. So you need to, everything that you do has to be backed by data, by your user feedback. If your changes are based on this, you have a big chance of success. And number 3 or number 4 is value communication. You have to have significant value for users to want that product or want your service. But never follow, I mean, your question is about what are the things most of the internet shops or SaaS products do that are bad for conversions. You can have a shitty product. That's one of the main things that everyone does. Gather data, make hypotheses, experiment, and never use best practices, only data-driven hypotheses.
Yeah, it's pretty much a good answer.
Anyone else? We have 1 minute, so just one quick question. Maybe one of you has a product, and you spend a lot of money into traffic, and your traffic cost is rising, like everyone else's does. And you think, how do I decrease the cost of acquisition and make more money with CRO? Maybe you have a question like this. No?
Да, можно на русском, напоминаю.
Okay, guys. How many of you has a product or running a product? Raise your hands. 1. So you probably have many questions. Okay, guys. Thank you very much for your time. It was a pleasure. See you soon.
Thank you.